But here again, we know Avram Avinu was doing this. There's got to be an important message, an important lesson in this for us. And here the Gemara tells us that Avram Avinu, this great tzaddik, was a prophet. He was a Navi. He saw into the future that there's going to come a time that one of his descendants, Moshe Rabbeinu, is going to go up to heaven to bring the Torah down to the Jewish people. And when he does, the angels are going to be screaming. Why? Why should the Torah leave here? Asher tenohoitcho ala shamayim. Hashem, your beauty belongs up here with the angels, with us. What's wrong? What was wrong with it being up here till now? Why take it downstairs? And the Gemara says that at that time, Moshe Rabbeinu is going to respond. Hashem is going to change the face of Moshe Rabbeinu to appear like Avraham Avinu. And Hashem is going to say to these angels, Moshe Rabbeinu is going to say to these angels, you need a Torah? Do you eat? Do you drink? You don't have those, you don't have any physical needs. The Torah has hundreds of laws and customs and mitzvahs related to food and everything. It doesn't even apply to you. And the Gemara says that Moshe Rabbeinu is going to point out to them also that, so the point that he's making is that because Bnei Israel eats and drinks, that's why we need the Torah. So Rabbi Nosson explains, this is what Avram Avinu had in mind at the time. We know that these angels, these were among the holiest of all the angels. The Gemara tells us it was the Malach Michael, Gavriel, Raphael, who are mentioned throughout the Torah many, many times. And yet these angels who ate with purity, with complete purity, and despite that, the food had a negative effect on them. We're told that two of the angels ended up not being able to go up. One of the angels, two of the angels didn't get to return to heaven until the time of Yaakov Avinu. In the beginning of Parshas Vayetze, we're told, Vayetze Yaakov was traveling, and he saw a dream, and in his dream he saw a ladder, and he saw Vehine Malache Elokim, he saw heavenly angels, Oilim V'yordim Boy. He saw heavenly angels going up and coming down. Question: angels live in heaven. The Torah should have said he saw angels coming down and going back up. Why does it say he saw angels going up? So it's brought that this refers to two of these three angels who first made it back up during the time of Yaakov Avinu. The fact that they ate physical food in this world, physical food is like lead weights. It's like cement shoes that pulls a person down into artzius, into gashmius, into physicality. And even these angels were affected in a little bit negatively by this, where it took a lot of time and effort for them to spring up, to jump up, to go up to heaven after having partaken in food. And we're talking about glatt, kosher, super quality stuff, finest cuts tongue that Avram Avinu gave them. Despite that, it took that long. The third angel, we're told, did not get back up until many, many years later, when the angel came to Manoach and his wife to tell them that Hashem was going to bless them with a child who was going to be Shimshon Hagibor. And it says that at that time when this angel came to tell him this, they offered him food. And he said, food? Never! No thanks! Just bring the sacrifice, make a korban. When the smoke goes up, I'm hightailing it upstairs with the smoke. And that's what he did. We're told that was the third angel of these three who first made it up hundreds of years later. Rabbi Nosson explains that Avram Avinu knew that this message, that this was a danger. Rabbi Nosson writes in the first Torah, in the second half of Likutei Moharan, that the mission of a Jew in this world is to surpass the angels, to go above the angels in closeness to Hashem. But Rabbeinu Zal tells us, quoting the Zohar HaKodesh, that when a Jew strives to do this, the angels don't like that. They get jealous. There's a kinas hamalochim that a person has to watch out for because they can harm the person. And Rav Nosson Zal says that Avram Avinu anticipated this. He knew that Moshe Rabbeinu was going to have this opposition when he would try to bring the Torah down, and he needed an answer. Moshe Rabbeinu would need to have an answer. And the answer was prepared by Avram Avinu. In giving these malachim to eat, he showed them very clearly, you see for yourselves that those who eat, those who have to eat and drink, it takes incredible birurim in order for them to process the food properly, in order for it to be digested properly, and in order for the food to be sorted out in the body itself, the good to be separated from the bad. We know before a person takes food into the mouth, a Jew goes into a store to buy food. A Jew has to look carefully at every single thing they're purchasing. Kosher, not kosher. Healthy, unhealthy. Good, bad. Enough, excess. There's many questions that a person has to ask themselves before they purchase any food, before they acquire food. Too expensive, not too expensive, all kinds of questions. Is the fruit ripe? Is it not ripe? There are so many different laws, al pi halacha, al pi kabbalah, that a person has to be aware about before they even bring the food into their house. And once they bring the food into the house, there's all kinds of laws. And then when the person takes it into, as they're taking it into their mouth, all the laws of birchas hanenim. And then once it enters into the body, there's an incredible process that has to take place of sorting out the good from the bad, seeing to it that the bad is excreted or ingested from the body, and that the good remains and goes to exactly where it has to go to. The better portions to the brain, to the heart, the less choicer portions to less significant part of the body. This is an awesome birur, and this is why the Jewish people need the Torah more than the angels, more than anybody else. The pasuk says, "V'toirascha b'toich me'ai." David HaMelech says, your Torah is in my kishkis, in my intestines. Meaning we Jews, we human beings, who have to eat. And eating is one of the most difficult things in life. Rav Nosson says it started with Adam and Chava. The first act of Adam and Chava that changed the entire universe, the entire world, for generations was an act of eating, improper eating, the eating of the Eitz Hadas. And so many different factors of our Torah are related to food. And it's only by a Jew being zeichet to receive the Torah, by Moshe Rabbeinu bringing the Torah down to the Jewish people, and giving us the Torah Shebechsav, and the Torah Shebal Peh, and the Shulchan Aruch, and the Sifrei Kabbalah, and the Sifrei Chasidus, that teach us how a Jew eats properly. To the point where the Gemara tells us that today, we don't have a Beis Hamikdash. During the time of the Beis Hamikdash, a Jew did not retain a sin for more than 12 hours, the Gemara says. Because there was the Korban Tamid that was brought in the morning that would forgive for all the sins that were done during the nighttime, and there was the Tamid that was brought in the afternoon that forgave for all sins during the day. The Gemara says, today we don't have a Beis Hamikdash. What can possibly serve as a Mizbeach? The Gemara says, Shulchanoi shel Adam, a Jew's table. If a Jew eats properly, if a Jew fulfills all the mitzvahs related to achila properly, their table is mechaper like a mizbeach. It has the same effects as the tmidim. The Gemara says, a person who is machnis orchim into their home, a Jew who brings guests into their home, talmidei chachamim, keilu hikriv tmidim. It's as if they brought the korban tamid sacrifices, plural. And Rabbi Zal has a few chapters in the Likutei Moharan where he expounds on that one statement in the Gemara. What the schus is of bringing guests into one's home, Talmidei Chachamim. That means, number one, people who are rabbis. Talmidei Chachamim also means a person brings a guest into their home to study Torah. Limud of Chachma, the Limud of Chachma. A person has the schus to have a shir of Torah take place in their house. Or a person learns B'chavrusa in their house. They're bringing, this is korbanos. And especially, again, we see the example of Avraham Avinu, that the Torah tells us here, Avraham Avinu at this time was 99 years old when he had his bris milah. He was 99. This was on the third day after the bris, when the pain is most intense. And the Torah tells us, V'hu oimed alehem, tachas oetz. Avraham Avinu stood over them to see, do they need salt? Do they need this? Do they need a little more of this? Did this one finish the bread? Maybe we should bring some more bread to the table. Avraham Avinu showed us an example of how serious a Jew should take the mitzvahs that pertain to food, because this is where the greatest birur takes place. Rabbi Zal says when a Jew goes to the bathroom, after a person finishes eating, and they finish the digestion of the food, even then it isn't done. It could be hours later, when the person has to relieve themselves, and then after the person does that, they remove the waste portion of the food from their body. Then there's the bracha that we make, Asher Yotzar Esodam B'Chochma Uvara Vaynekovim, and the bracha concludes with the words Umafli La'asois, and Hashem does pele, wondrous things. The word pele refers to the highest level of light, the highest level of awesomeness, of greatness of Hashem. That's the word that's used about the finalization of processing food. That's really the last stop. After a person ate and digested, and now they're finally getting totally rid of the waste portion of the food and retaining only the good portion, we use these words, umafli lasos, that this is pele, this is wondrous. And this is what Avraham Avinu taught us in giving these malachim to eat. This would answer their question later, when they would come to oppose the Torah being given to Klal Yisrael, that one of the most important reasons why we have the Torah is specifically because of this, because of food. And if we're zeicher to study all the facets of the Torah, Baruch Hashem, in our Sforim, especially in the Breslov Sforim, in the Likutei Moran, in the Likutei Halachos, there's hundreds of pages enlightening a person as to how special this process of eating is, and all the incredible, important factors that are involved from beginning to end, every aspect of things related to food and eating food. If a person is zeicher to study it, they can have the true benefits and be zeicher to the full effects of the Torah.